Hi everyone, Luke here from Weekend Tour Pros. You're joining me again today in the studio at City Golf in Chichester as we complete another golf ball review, and this time we're testing a brand new golf ball for 2024 and the much requested, much anticipated TaylorMade Speedsoft. Now what we're going to do in this video is put it through its paces against the premium golf ball, the Titleist Pro V1, for benchmarking purposes, but we'll also talk about how it compares to other golf balls in its price point that it's competing against, such as the Callaway Supersoft, the Srixon Soft Feel and the Titleist True Feel. Let's get stuck in. Now, before we start hitting shots, let's just have a little conversation about that elephant in the room, the oxymoron that is the name of this golf ball, Speed Soft. Now, as a general rule, soft golf balls are not fast, and the reason for that is generally firmness does equal speed. So what I think TaylorMade are actually meaning with the name of this golf ball is distance soft, because they're expecting to deliver some really good distance. Now, they do claim that their new power cord does allow them to unlock a little bit more ball speed out of a soft golf ball, and we will put that to the test all the way through this video. In terms of the other characteristics, it is a two-piece ionomer cover golf ball, a lot like its competitors and other golf balls in this price point, and they do talk about it delivering their softest feeling golf ball with fast ball speeds, some long iron distance, which again I think will be due to a reduction in spin versus a premium golf ball, some mid to high wedge spin, some mid launch, and they do talk about they've got this unique dimple pattern that tries to extend the ball flight of the golf ball as well. All really interesting claims that we'll try and test over the next 15 or so minutes. Final thing to talk about is the price point. Much like its competitors, the white and the yellow option come in at £24.99 in the UK, and I'm sure very, very similar across the rest of the world. If you do want that speed ink version like we're using today, it's a couple of pounds more at £26.99, and something we're seeing a lot of manufacturers do here. People like to express themselves, that unapologetically me culture that we're in at the moment, and golf balls are just another way of doing that. We've already seen it with Callaway and the Supersoft at this price point as well. Srixon with Divide, we've seen it with TaylorMade and their more expensive balls with the Pix range as well. Right, let's set up the test and let's start hitting some shots. Right, let's start by capturing that short game data. Expectations here are that we're going to see some very similar things to what we see with other golf balls at this price point. Probably a fraction less spin than a premium golf ball, but potentially a little bit more of a pop off of the face, or a slightly more loopier ball flight, and also expecting to get that real soft feel coming through in this type of shot with a dull sound and that feeling of softness on face and golf ball. Yeah. Immediately noticeable. So I've already hit my baseline set of shots with the Pro V1, and that clippiness of Pro V1 versus how soft and dull that went, and it almost hit the roof there, that first shot out. It's popped up so incredibly high. That one there, 15 feet of peak height off of a 20-yard pitch shot, is just incredibly high compared to what I'm used to seeing. Same again, it's really, really hitting that screen quite firm at the top. Caught that a little bit nippier. It's maybe not popped up as much. It would be interesting to see if it's jumped up in spin a little bit more than the last one. Still below 4,000. So with a premium golf ball, I get somewhere in the region of about high 4,000. So this one is about 1,000 RPM less. But obviously, we'll look at the TrackMan data properly later. That's again just popped straight back up there. Interesting how consistent it's been though for those first few shots. That one actually has hit the top of the ceiling. Definitely wants to fly off this face. It feels very, very quick off of that face on this type of shot, just really explosive. Versus something like that Pro V1, that premium golf ball, that does feel like it grips on the face a little bit more, and that's probably why we get that fraction more spin. This feels like it is just like a trampoline effect, just bouncing straight off the club face. Right. Let's baseline some numbers with the Pro V1. Right, let's dissect the TrackMan data from that short game test. Starting on the left-hand side, you can see that the ball speeds and smash factors were very similar for this type of shot, despite it feeling in the bay like the TaylorMade Speedsoft jumped off the club face just that little bit more. As expected and discussed in the bay, the spin rate with the TaylorMade Speedsoft was drastically lower at 3,495 RPM versus 4,860 RPM with the Titleist Pro V1. That's roughly 30% less short game spin. We saw in the bay just how high and loopy the ball flight was on the TaylorMade Speedsoft, and that's backed up by the data. The launch angle was almost 10 degrees more at 41.7 degrees versus 32.3 degrees, whilst it also delivered 33% more peak height at 15 feet versus 10 feet, and 10 degrees more land angle at 45.7 degrees versus 35.9 degrees. That really is an incredible difference in ball flights on such a short shot. Now, how quickly a golf ball stops is determined by its combination of land angle, peak height and spin rates. The TaylorMade Speedsoft relies heavily on the steeper land angle and peak height to compensate for its lack of spin. Now, the really interesting and somewhat surprising end result is that the TaylorMade Speedsoft actually stopped quicker in this part of the test at 4.3 yards versus 4.7 yards with the Titleist Pro V1. Right, first shot with the Speedsoft. Expectations here are I'm expecting to see some very similar feels, some very similar jump off of the face like we saw with that short game shot. Also expecting to see some good distance, but purely based on a reduction in spin versus a premium golf ball. So let's see if all those things happen. It does feel incredibly soft again and dull, like baseline with the Pro V1, you kind of feel that clippiness, you feel that contact between club and ball. That didn't even feel like the two things made contact with each other. Like it was really hard to tell what had happened. Definitely feels incredibly soft. And there's that jump up in distance that I was expecting. Ball speed of 94 mile an hour for me with a pitching wedge is incredibly fast. So fast in terms of ball speeds though. It is speedy and it is soft. It's living up to its name, which again is a surprise at this part of the test. It definitely has given me some food for thought. I was not expecting that out of it. So you've seen me hit the shots, now let's look into all of that pitching wedge data. Just like in that short game test, the TaylorMade Speedsoft did once again keep up with the Titleist Pro V1 with near identical smash factors of very similar club head speeds. Equally impressive was how the TaylorMade Speedsoft nearly matched the Titleist Pro V1 in terms of spin rates. At 7,335 RPM, it was less than 200 RPM lower spinning than the Titleist Pro V1, whilst also being incredibly consistent. Ball flights also followed a similar pattern to the short game test. We saw launch angles for the TaylorMade Speedsoft were high at 26.4 degrees versus 23.6 degrees with the Pro V1. Peak heights were a massive 12 feet higher at 80 feet versus 68 feet, and land angles were also steeper at 50.1 degrees versus 46.1 degrees. Add all of that together and the TaylorMade Speedsoft was, as expected, slightly longer by 2.9 yards at 115.5 yards of carry versus 112.6 yards with the Pro V1. Stopping power was also strong thanks to that ball flight and spin combination at 3.6 yards versus 4.9 yards again with the Titleist. Finally, dispersion was very similar with both golf balls, perhaps fractionally tighter front to back with the Pro V1 and marginally better left to right with the TaylorMade Speedsoft. That's two parts of the test done now and the Speedsoft is performing really well. Let's see what happens with those 7 irons. Right, 7 irons with the Speedsoft. Really keen to see if those feels, those high ball flights, high launching, high peak heighting ball flights that we've seen in the pitching wedge continue. Also keen to see if we still continue to get a little bit more distance out of it and if that is as a result of a fraction less spin. The problem now we've got is because it's not going to be as strong a ball flight, does that mean we sacrifice a bit of control on holding this on the green, particularly in those summer months when the greens are a bit firmer? First one that feels like I've really middled it. That's impressive in terms of distance, and again I think the reason for it is that reduction in spin. At 3,641 that is low spin. I need to be close to 5,000 with a 7 iron to have any chance of holding anything. The interesting thing is ball speeds of 109, that is a fraction down versus what I think I was getting on the good hits with the Pro V1. So the really interesting observation there is Speedsoft, it's not necessarily fast, What it is though is long because of that reduced spin. So it's more of a distance soft than a speed soft in this part of the test. That's an unbelievable golf shot, 161 of carry for a 7-iron. I must admit, I really love the feel off the face. Even at this part of the test, it just reminds me why I like soft feeling golf balls. You really can feel that ball compressing and exploding off of the face. Another just huge shot though, 162 of carry, just absolutely ridiculous. Right, next up is that 7-iron data. Now this is starting to become a recurring theme because just like we've seen through the first two tests, the smash factors are identical, meaning the TaylorMade Speedsoft was as fast as the Pro V1 even with a mid-iron. As we spoke about in the studio, the spin rates with the TaylorMade Speedsoft were drastically lower at 3,840 RPM versus 4,854 RPM with the Pro V1. Now, whilst this test is off a mat and the grass usually adds about 1000 RPM of spin, this is very low spin with the Speedsoft and does cause me some concerns. For the first time in the test, we've also lost the stopping power from the ball flight with the TaylorMade Speedsoft. Launch angles were still slightly higher at 19.5 degrees versus 18.3 degrees with the Pro V1, but peak heights were near identical at 77 feet and 78 feet respectively, but land angles were slightly flatter this time at 41.9 degrees versus 43 degrees with the Pro V1. So whilst the carry distance was impressive with the Speedsoft at 158.1 yards versus 155.4 yards with the Pro V1, I am worried about the ability to hold a green with mid-irons and longer clubs, as it took the TaylorMade Speedsoft 20% longer to stop after it landed. Dispersion circles once again were very good with the Speedsoft, with it being almost identical front to back and slightly tighter left to right versus the Pro V1. Right, let's finish up with the driver with the TaylorMade Speedsoft. Expectation here, just based on other balls in this price bracket that I've tested before, is this is where we will see a slight reduction in ball speed versus a premium golf ball and potentially see spin creep up a little bit as a result and maybe lose a couple of yards. So if this can keep up with the Pro V1, it's done incredibly well throughout all the test. So straight away, first strike, ball speed is down about 3 or 4 miles an hour. Every single one of my carries with the Pro V1 was 217 to 219. We've gone down to 210 of carry, so 7-8 yards of carry distance less and between 8 to 10 yards of total distance less. Now it is only the first shot, so we'll have to see how that persists through the rest of the test. But this is where these kind of trade-offs even up. You might get a little bit more distance with your wedge, with your 7-iron at that end of the bag, but you might be balancing that out by losing a little bit at this end of the bag. So it's just what you need more help with. Interesting, the spin rate there though was okay. 132, a little bit faster, but only 211. That's crushed. That's as good as I can hit it. Still only 132 of ball speed. Again, as good as I can hit it. 130 of ball speed. We have seen that one though, the carry get to 213, the total at 239. So that is the longest one we've seen. Definitely, all round my best delivery, but I still can't get it up there with the Pro V1. When I film these ball reviews, I always capture on video the first sort of 8 shots, but then I continue to hit shots to get a bigger data set and it allows me to take out any anomalies. I've just took the camera back on because I've just hit one that's gone 135 of ball speed, as good as I can hit it, probably better than anything I've hit with the Pro V1. And we did get 218 of carry and 244 of total. So what I would say is it is in there, but it has to be every single thing of me perfect. Versus with that Pro V1, I was just hitting them 90–95% good consistently and getting those numbers time after time. Finally, let's take a look at the TrackMan data from those driver shots. As discussed in the bay, for the first time the TaylorMade Speedsoft was not able to keep up as easily with the Titleist Pro V1 in terms of ball speeds and smash factors. However, its performance was slightly better than I perhaps felt when I was in the bay. Spin rates were virtually identical, which I must say did impress me. This is because usually when I test budget-friendly golf balls, they tend to go from not spinning enough with the irons to spinning too much with the driver. So for the TaylorMade Speedsoft to match the Pro V1 was impressive in this part of the test. The TaylorMade Speedsoft also offered a near identical ball flight in this part of the test to the Pro V1. Launch angles, peak heights and land angles were all near identical. Therefore, because of the near identical spin rates and ball flights, the biggest impact on distance was ultimately the ball speeds, which caused the TaylorMade Speedsoft to carry 6.8 yards less and total 6.6 yards less than the Pro V1. So as we discussed in the bay, the distance gains that we got at the bottom end of the bag are ultimately balanced out at the top end of the bag. Once again, left to right dispersion with the TaylorMade Speedsoft was tighter, but the Titleist Pro V1 was incredibly consistent from front to back. So before I get into my final thoughts, one of the things I promised right at the introduction to this video is to offer a comparison against the Srixon Soft Feel and the Callaway Supersoft, two of the golf balls that are competing against the TaylorMade Speedsoft. Now what I've done for this comparison is I've gone back and looked at the two videos I filmed where I reviewed both of those golf balls over the last sort of 6 or 7 months, which I'll put a link to both of those in the top corner for you. And I've compared how the data sets compared against that Pro V1 that we benchmarked against, and the results are actually quite interesting. In my opinion, looking back across all of the data, the Srixon Soft Feel is probably third in my list in terms of overall performance. It just seems to be a little bit below both those other two golf balls consistently throughout the test. In terms of the Supersoft versus the Speedsoft, my personal opinion is that the TaylorMade Speedsoft is a little bit better at the bottom end of the bag. It definitely was a little bit better in that short game and in that pitching wedge part of the test. And then when it comes to the 7-iron and the driver, the drop off in spin with the 7-iron wasn't quite as much with the Callaway Supersoft, and with the driver it's very, very similar with both of them. So overall I think it's down to a little bit of personal preference, and if you'd love to see me do a video where I take all three golf balls and put them head to head, side by side on the same day to see which one comes out on top, let me know in the comments down below and I'll be happy to film that video for you guys and get it on the channel ASAP. Now my final thoughts on the TaylorMade Speedsoft as a golf ball is I think it is a really good golf ball at this price point, and definitely one of the ones that's impressed me the most in my testing over the last couple of years. I do think it's got that really soft feel that so many of you will like. It does allow you to express yourself with that speed ink and all the different colour options that it's available in, and I do think the performance overall is really good. My only little caveat is those 7-iron spin rates are incredibly low, and that does worry me, particularly as I am a low spin golfer. Now you might be a higher spin golfer naturally, and therefore that might not be a concern for you, and you therefore might want to play this golf ball throughout the bag. Now all that's left for me to say is if you like the video, please do hit that thumbs up button. It really does help golfers like you to find my videos on YouTube. And if you're not yet following Weekend Tour Pros, hit that subscribe button down below. If you ring the bell icon, you'll get notified of all my videos as they land on YouTube every single week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.